Let's learn more about calling functions. Python has many built-in functions. You could never learn them all in this course. You will learn a few, but it's far more important that you learn how to learn more about functions. Good programmers create documentation for their functions. Documentation is extra information about a function that makes it clear how it works. There are many ways to write documentation, but they usually have a few things in common. You should look for 5 major parts: the function's name, its parameters, its return value, its description, and examples on how to use the function. The arguments that are passed into a function are also known as parameters. Parameters are the formal names that describe those arguments. In the example here, the arguments are 3 and 10. The documentation tells us that the corresponding parameters are named length and width. A common task is to nest function calls inside of other function calls. This means that the return value of the inner function becomes the argument of the outer function. Notice that we read from right to left in this case, but it'd be more accurate to say that we read from inside to out. When you need to call methods on the same string variable or value, it's a little different. You will repeat the period, name, and parentheses each time. In this example, we invoke the title method on the string hello world and an account method on the result. By placing them side by side, you can chain the results from left to right, but once again, we're actually reading from inside to the outside. Since function calls are just another expression, you can freely combine them with each other. Observe the code below, where we combine string addition, a string method call, and a function. The result of the entire expression is stored inside this new string length variable. Follow the order of execution very carefully, because it can be very tricky. You already know 2 functions. Print is a function that takes in arguments and writes to the console. Input is a function that reads from the console and returns it as a string value. These 2 functions are actually quite strange because they have side effects. The input function puts a text box on the console, and the print function writes text to the console.